worst fortune cookie ever.
I thought it was going to be something like, oh, like love is about to find you or something I could like use, like
right, or
call George. You know what I mean? Like
like run that red light.
Right.
Like
well,
something that you could act upon. Like use
something.
your imagination. Maybe the idea is we were supposed to use your imagination to figure out what it could have said.
No.
Well,
it was just some crap.
I mean, we are having a little fun with that now.
It was just some crap. Okay, back to the story. Story 2. She was a young girl on her way to prom when her car wrecked and she died. She is said to still wander the roads looking for a ride to the dance she was never able to attend. Now, that is also very common in American Lady in White stories, is it's a young woman on her way to prom. That happens a lot. That especially... Those kind of stories happen a lot, I'd say, in, like, the Midwest. That's a big thing. Like, young girls going to prom, dying in car accidents.
They're very wholesome in the Midwest.
Yes. Okay, story 3. And this is acted out at Harvest Hill Farms on the Gauntlet, which is kind of one of their... Well, it's like a big thing up there. It's like, what's the one we have around here? Wicked Woods?
Like I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, no, you do.
Like a Halloween thing? Like Spooky Woods?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's one of those things. So this is a thing that they do in the nearby.
I was also wondering, do you mean like King Richard's Fair? Like, because Gauntlet? Like...
I mean, it's people dressed up doing things. It's people dressed up pretending to be someone else. But no, this is like their like spooky
So
woods.
it's their Spooky Woods.
Yeah.
That's what it's called, right? It used to be down at Foxborough?
I have no idea. I know Wicked Woods is still a thing.
Okay.
I've never been. I don't do those things.
All right. If you have feedback for us on this, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, if anyone knows what we're talking about, please tell us.
we have a vague idea,
we
but
don't
details. We need details.
Okay, so this one is about a bride killed on her way to be married on Route 11. She died in a car wreck and still wanders searching for someone to take her to the church. Interesting.
Okay.
Okay. So
you have 2 stories about the lady who are somebody who is young and died tragically.
Yes.
And one where the lady was murdered.
Yes.
Okay, so we can check the boxes.
Yes. So our latest sighting that I found online happened on June 11th, 2009. So a little while ago, and almost exactly 10 years ago. Actually,
almost exactly.
What day does the podcast come out?
So what's today?
Today's the 5th.
So that was in June though, wasn't it?
No, July.
Oh, one moment.
Do, 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 do.
This should come out on the 10th.
Okay, so if more people listen to our podcast on Thursday than they do on Wednesday. So
really?
Yes, by far. So if today is Thursday and you were listening and it is July 11th, 10 years ago today. July 11th, 2009, a teen was frantically flashing his lights to flag down a police officer. When the police officer got to his window, he was pale as a ghost. Not the cop, the guy in the car. He was rambling about seeing a woman in white near the frozen custard stand. He said he stopped, and the woman asked for a ride to the church on Route 11. It was after midnight, and he thought it was strange, but he wanted to help her. She asked if he went to the school nearby, which he did. When he got to the church and turned to say goodbye, she said the cops would be here in a minute. He turned to look to see if she saw their lights, and when he looked back, she had vanished. He never heard of the stories of the lady in white. The police officer, however, had heard of the story and knew exactly what had happened. Ooh.
Is that the end of the story?
Yes.
Well, how did the police... So what happened? I feel like I'm left not knowing how it resolved.
What do you mean how it resolved? She disappeared.
Did the policeman, walk the nice boy home? Did he, have a nervous breakdown? It was,
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like that one's... I need more details. Does anybody know what happened with that 10 years ago? If you're the policeman that actually did that 10 years ago, can you call us? Email us?
DM us on Instagram at Ghost Hunting in New England or on Twitter, Ghost Hunting NE. All right, so now we're on to the ghost of the What a stupid joke. Ghost of the Huntington Theater. My computer crashed, and so I'm looking at this article trying to get it right. Mm-hmm. And so I was reading off the title and the ghost of the Huntington Theater, which is why I was like, what am I looking at right now? Okay. So the Huntington Theater was built in 1925, and it's supposed to be really haunted. Fox News ranked it one of the 3 most haunted theaters in the United States. And then they had another show, Project Ghostlight, came to visit the theater at one point. And so there are a couple different ghosts here. The first ghost they like to talk about is Henry Jewett, who was the theater's first owner. And he opened the Repertory Theater of Boston as a permanent home for his company, the Henry Jewett Players. They fell into financial hardship, and he was forced to close that theater down. Then he died. And a lot of people said he died at home. That was like where it was reported. But the rumors is that he hung himself underneath the stage in the theater, which is really sad and also dramatic. So I believe that one.
I would think that we could probably get a copy of his death certificate and find out, did he die by hanging or did he die by another means? And that should answer that question quickly.
Maybe, but it was 1925, so I don't know how legit those things were. You can kind of say whatever you wanted.
I think they were still pretty legit. I mean, they would have been handwritten, but I think they would have been legit.
Maybe.
I don't think that medical examiners were sketchy.
You don't think I think they're still sketchy.
Really?
Everyone has a price.
Yeah, they're doctors.
Everyone has a price.
And they don't really care. And they like to, like, cut open dead people.
And people are already dead. I mean,
right,
everyone has a price. Oh, here's $100. How about we say he died at home in bed, all right? As opposed to in 1925 in very Catholic Boston saying he committed suicide.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
All right. Well.
It doesn't matter. Huntington staff members have been known to reportedly see his ghost drifting through the corridors, wearing the same clothes as in his painting in the theater lobby. That's convenient.
Was that his... Well, I mean, it would have been his favorite outfit if it's what he was wearing when he had his portrait done.
Yeah, I guess. In 1991, Trinity Repertory Company put on a performance in the then-called BU Theater during the Huntington summer off-season. It was opening night for Frankie and Johnny at the Claire de Lune. At the start of the show, the house manager just couldn't dim the lights for whatever reason. They were having a lot of electricity issues. And as we know, ghosts mess with our electricity. So after continuing to try, the lights just dimmed totally on their own. And at the end of the performance, a number of patrons complained about feeling chills despite the New England summer heat.
Well, that's happened to all of us at the end of a summer night, that it's been hot, 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 and you get kind of sunburned and you're tired and you're dehydrated and all of a sudden you're getting all of these like weird kind of tingly feelings.
Yeah.
And it feels kind of like you have chills.
Yeah. So then the other famous ghost, which they don't really have any information on, so I don't know how famous he is. So that's the ghost of the green room. And like when TV crews and stuff come, they like slam doors and things lock, and it's like the ghost, and he's supposed to protect them from the TV crews. So they're like theater people.
I would think theater people would like TV crews.
No.
No? Why not?
No. Because it's 2 different things. Like
okay.
Theater, acting on the stage, it's like different than like a TV.
Okay.
Acting. Okay.
Is it like the Army says they're the best, but the Marines say they're the best?
I have no idea. I know people do that. I don't know if it's the same thing.
Okay.
I'd say I know more Army and Marine people than I do theater people. Okay. So,
or TV people.
Or TV people, yeah.
Okay.
Then many people have reported seeing sightings of the Lady in White, which is why I'm telling this story. And that's a ghost who tends to hang around at dress rehearsals and who is believed to be a former wardrobe mistress. One evening, when a former Huntington employee turned off the lights as she was leaving her otherwise empty theater office, she reportedly heard a female's voice whispering, "I don't like the dark." Spooky. So, and what is interesting about this, and this is the interesting part I want to talk about. So they don't give me a date on when that happened. But in 1999, and this is a gruesome story, so if you are a little squeamish, just hit the 30-second go by button. During the summer, a passerby began to notice an intense smell coming from the theater. Believing an animal might have died recently, one Huntington employee discovered the origin of the scent. Stepping into the alleyway...
Is the scent capitalized?
No.
Oh.
Stepping into the alleyway behind Studio 210, the employee noticed several maggots falling from above and discovered a decomposing female body on the catwalk overhead. The woman had been a resident of the building next door, and though the specifics remain vague, she allegedly fell from a window to the fire escape where her body was found several weeks later. People call her girlfriend, and she still haunts the dressing rooms and second-floor studio space, Props and costumes have been found damaged or altered and sometimes disappear altogether. And that's that story.
So she lived next door.
Yes.
And she somehow got on the roof of the theater and fell onto the catwalk?
No.
All right, tell me again.
She fell out of her window onto the fire escape.
Oh. She was just on the fire escape?
She was found in the alleyway behind the theater.
And she was there for weeks?
Yes. In the summer. In 1999, which really isn't that long ago.
Right.
20 years ago this summer. If you're listening to this podcast in the summer, that was 20 years ago.
Yeah. I had already graduated high school.
That's scary.
Yeah. This was in modern times.
Mm-hmm.
And she laid in an alley in downtown Boston for weeks before someone found her.
That is correct.
That doesn't seem reasonable. I could understand maybe a day or two, but weeks? And I'm pretty sure that after I watch a lot of Forensic Files, I'm pretty sure that after weeks, she wouldn't even be recognizable as a body anymore. She would just be kind of like a goo.
I mean, that's kind of what I think was implied with maggots were falling down on people, which is how they realized to look up.
And nobody noticed she was missing? The poor lady. So now she wanders around the Huntington Theater, stealing props and changing scenery. And
stealing props and costumes. And so that's what I found interesting, is that the lady in white was one of the costume designers. And all they say about her is that she's I don't like the dark. But then this other woman they're saying who died is messing around with people's props and costumes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm how do you... That sounds more like the lady in white doing this stuff, right?
I would agree, yeah.
Yeah. That's why I was I should bring up this last, even though it's disgusting story, because I think that they're related. Okay.
So the lady you didn't have too much information, the lady who doesn't like the dark, we don't have any information on how she died.
No.
So we can't check one of the boxes.
Well, that's what I was saying, is that I don't know if that is her or if the other woman is her. Because the other woman checks the boxes.
She at least checks the died tragically
and
was unnoticed box.
Yes.
But
it's a woman in distress. She's a young woman.
Okay. So, yeah, interesting. Of course, the person who heard, I don't like to be in the dark, or whatever it was, could have just been imagining it. Could have been a late night. Could have been projecting her own ideas of, I don't like to be in the dark.
Okay, last story.
All right.
This is, so some of the things I found on it said lady in white, and then some of them said lady in red.
Okay.
But I found it interesting, and I included it, because the reason she is a lady in red should have been the reason she would be a lady in white.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so there is a old covered bridge called the Goldbrook Bridge in Stowe, Vermont, which is a very beautiful town, and if you're ever in Vermont, you should go because it's lovely. This bridge is also known as Emily's Bridge, due to the fact it is haunted by, you guessed it, a girl named Emily. So there are many stories about how Emily died on the bridge. One is that she was supposed to elope with her lover, who was meeting her on the bridge, and then when he didn't show up, she hung herself from the rafters. Another version is that she met a man who stole her heart, and the couple made plans to marry. The day she was supposed to marry, she showed up at the church in her beautiful red wedding dress, ready to give herself to a gentleman in holy wedlock, but he didn't show up. And the jilted bride took the family wagon in a frenzy of anger and sorrow, and she was merciless on the horses, whipping them until they were traveling at an incredible pace, like she just wanted to get out of there, and planning perhaps to confront the faithless groom. As she approached the bridge, she failed to turn and drove the horses and the carriage over the brink onto the rocky brooks below, and they all died, which is really sad. But there is no actual written historical evidence that Emily ever existed, and the first mention of the bridge being haunted by someone named Emily came in 1968 when high school students wrote a paper on the subject claiming that while they were using a Ouija board on the bridge, the entity presented itself and said her name was Emily. Other people using the Ouija board have reported the identity has also said her name is Emily and said she was killed on the bridge by her fiance's mother. Okay.
All right. Can I just stop for a second and say kids in Stowe, Vermont in 1968 out in the middle of the night on a bridge were definitely smoking the pot.
I think that is true of any teenager.
But I would bet the farm on.
So that's probably true.
On those particular kids.
And that date is interesting to me because that is kind of the height of when Ouija boards became very big, very mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
And then